Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Steven and Kori. I'm Steven.
And I'm Kori.
Wow, look at this woman. She's so beautiful. And we've been hanging out together for about 40 years now.
No, we've been hanging out for 42
Actually,
years.
oh,
Gosh,
oh,
oh no,
I
that's
stand
good. That means that it doesn't feel as long.
hey, I stand corrected. 42 years we've been hanging out
So
together.
when I met this guy, well, that's a whole nother story. I think we haven't talked about that before, but yeah, 42 years. Yes. And we are on, our show is called Get It Together, because you got to get it together up here, right?
Get it together,
Yeah,
together.
Together. Because you can't help me with this. I got to help me with this.
That's right.
And then we help each other with this. So
Exactly.
Get it together. Yeah.
Two imperfect people that came together with the dream of putting together the perfect marriage.
Yeah. And we're still working on it. Just
still
like
working on it.
Every other marriage is.
Absolutely. Either they say it or they don't.
Yeah,
we know the deal.
That's true. So through our 40 years, 30 years of working in ministry, as we've shared that before, but it's always good because you have new viewers and they don't know us and they want to know, so who are these people and why are they talking to us?
That's right.
What do you mean get it together? This is about couples. This is about significant others, people who are looking to become a couple, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of you guys out there that want to hear what really goes on when you're together.
That's right.
And not necessarily living together, but married together.
That's
because
right.
There's a difference.
Including all the dirty laundry.
Yeah. And the clean,
nobody wants to show.
And the clean laundry too.
Well, I don't know about how much laundry is actually clean.
My laundry's clean.
Oh yeah, her laundry's
I
clean.
don't wear dirty panties. Anyway.
You know what? I can actually vouch for that. Thank you.
You're welcome. What we're doing this show for is we get a lot of people that talk to us about, hey, you guys are it's so comfortable talking with you guys about those things that we don't really want to talk about with other people. And somehow we're able to bring that out in people. Tell us about your dirty laundry. Here's some soap,
Right.
But because we're a safe space, I think, nothing phases us. We have heard some things. Now, we haven't heard everything.
Right.
But we've heard some things and we're like, okay.
There's some things that it's really unfortunate. That we have heard as well. But
so it's led us to become transparent with within our own experience with others. And I think that helps. When you give, guess what? You receive. But you got to give.
That's a law.
It is a law.
Yeah.
As relationship gurus, which we've been called relationship gurus, which I love that because people actually trust us with speaking about relationships. We have found that when we hit on topics that are hot topics or sensitive topics, we're not slamming people, and that's not what you want to do. People don't need to be beat up.
That's right.
They just need to be understood and lifted up. We give them scripture that tells them who they really are. And we give them uplifting words of encouragement. And so that's what life is about, lifting up people, not pushing them down. And in our society right now, everybody's looking to point fingers and push it down. So what a better place to be for couples in an environment where we're lifting you up and we're giving you hope. And we're telling you that, your career, your young marrieds, your seasoned marrieds, your single, no children couples, you can all make it work. You just have to make it work for you. So what's our topic today?
So our topic episode today is about leaving work at work, right?
Yeah.
And you're home now. So finding a balance between work and home.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a big issue.
Especially with dual career couples. We're talking specifically about dual career couples.
Yes.
And what is a career?
Make no mistake. Exactly.
Yeah. What is a career? I had a career and I still have a career. Stay-at-home mother is a career. So dual career couples, leaving work at work, leave it at work, and also finding balance with that relationship at home, work to home.
When you're passionate about what you do, it can many times intoxicate you, and you forget that you're not just one dimensional, right? That you have multiple roles, especially in a family, multiple roles, and these demands that are placed upon each person.
Oh my gosh!
Sometimes can be really overwhelming,
exhausting. I mean, you had a demanding career, which because of his demanding career, I had a demanding career,
the fashion business. The fashion business is really
volatile too.
It's volatile, but it's a fascinating business. It's fast paced. You got to be able to turn on a dime. And especially in most of my roles, we're moving product all over the world.
Yeah.
So, but again, you never want to compete. When you're out there in a marriage, you never want to compete with
each other, and definitely not with your friends.
And when I say compete, I'm talking about whose career takes
Yeah.
prominence.
Yeah.
That's not what it's about,
No, no,
right?
it's
But
not. Yeah.
it's easy to, you
Yeah,
know,
well, I want to do this and I make more than you, so I should be able to do this. Or, this is my money. And we talked about that before. So
yeah,
I don't think we should be doing this. Or there's also the compete with your friends.
oh
And
yeah,
because of
oh yeah,
social media, oh my gosh,
yeah.
everybody shows everything that they're doing. And some of those couples are out there going, how come we're not doing that?
That's
What?
right.
How come they're going to France and we're not going to France? You do the same job he does, or
Right.
I do the same job that he does. So you can't look at social media and really think that these couples get it together. And even if they do, that's their business.
That's right.
What they spend their money on or what they spend their lifestyle on in their lifestyle is their business.
You make a really good point because again, people are visually
Yeah.
motivated and they study and believe
Tell them
everything they
about
see.
when we were newly
You know,
married.
we talked about this on one of the
Yeah.
other episodes is that, when we were recently married, she would look around at other couples and see different things, what they were doing, where they were going. And she'd be like, how come we can't do that? We blah, blah, blah. I said, you know what? We know how much money we make.
Yeah.
Okay. And we've always had a really decent income in
Yeah.
our family.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? Just give it some time.
Right. Right.
Just give it some
Yeah.
time. Some things you see are just not real.
Yeah.
And almost every time verbatim.
Yeah, something fell through the cracks. Or, it's like we bought a home when we were newly married. Well, most of our friends were in apartments. And so they're like, and some of them were, just still staying at couples, still staying with their parents. So it's like, well, honey, they can do that because they don't have a mortgage. It's like, oh yeah, well, I guess I do like a mortgage, So, but you have to figure that out. You have
Right.
to not compete with what you see in social media and figure, I want their lifestyle. You know what? You said one time if everybody brought all their problems to the altar,
Yeah.
bring it on to talk about that. That was good.
Well, I was just saying, there's this whole conversation about sometimes you think everybody else is doing better off than you. And there was this one time we were at service and the preacher was like, okay, what we're going to do? We're going to do this little exercise. Everyone is going to write on these little pieces of paper, okay, all of your issues, everything that's concerning you. And then we're going to all bring it down to the altar and then we're going to pray over it, right? But here's the deal. Before you go back to your seat, you're going to have to pick up someone else's pile, right? And you need to take that back to your seat with you. Well, when everyone got back to their seats, they start reading these things of other people, and everyone wanted to rush back, right?
And get their
own
I
back.
want my own stuff.
Give me my stuff, right? Give me my
Yeah.
own issues.
I like my grass as green as it is on my side.
There you
Absolutely.
go. The
Yeah.
grass is
Mhm.
not always greener,
Yeah.
folks, and maybe you know that.
Yeah. And because of that, that can tear apart that whole leave work at work. And when you come home, you're home.
That's right.
Don't think about what's going on at work as a two-career couple when you get home. Build a cocoon in your home so that you're not thinking about, I need to do this, or Bob had this opportunity and Janet had this opportunity. Bob and Janet. Hey, Bob and Janet. I'm not talking about you guys, but had this opportunity. Think about your own opportunities at work or in your career, whatever that might be. You might have your career at home.
Right.
You might not be leaving the house, or you might travel for your career. But just build that cocoon and build that safety. So when you come home, everything is safe here.
And
What I say is safe here.
it's all about celebrating, the lifestyle that you create
Mhm.
with what you have.
Yeah.
And how you're doing.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Every show that we do, we want to talk a little bit about some of the relevant things that are going on in this space. And one of the things that we always enjoy is doing some research
Yeah.
and transitioning our podcast to what we're calling stats and facts.
Mhm.
So you
Mhm.
have some
Yes,
research.
I do. Let's see. Oh, this is a good one. Okay. According to the Presidential Commission on the Status of Women, again, we get these we get these stats and facts. It's like most of them were like, we didn't even know these things existed.
I know,
But
it's
okay.
pretty phenomenal.
Let's see. According to the Presidential Commission on the stats and facts on the stats of women, excuse me, stats of women, 58% of respondents reported less work-life balance since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Oh,
58% less work-life balance, which
that's a big number.
completely makes sense.
Yes.
Completely makes sense.
Big number.
Let me say this. Work-life balance. How do you create that work-life balance? I want to talk about something that we didn't even realize we were doing when we were balancing work and life. So we have these two daughters who are young, and Steven's in the office. And so I decided to take them to Steven's office. I would come by and visit him. Now he had a team of people that worked for him and his boss was in there. So I was respectful. It was lunchtime. I wasn't going in the middle of the day and while they're in meetings.
But you also did that at other companies as well, not just one company. You did for a
Yeah. Oh,
variety of
yeah.
different
Yeah.
companies,
Yeah.
which is
So when I would bring them in, his staff would end up meeting his children. You remember that?
oh
And
yeah,
it was so nice because our daughters knew what daddy did.
yeah,
They knew he went into the office. We made it real. We made it not like you're keeping work at work, but at least when you come home, they can talk to you. So how's Susan, dad, or how's Tina, or his boss, how's John? And even the president's personal assistant, Alice, she would take our youngest one up in her arms and she'd talk to her and hold her because she was little. It was really a nice environment. It really made it a family company for us. I mean, the company's name was the name Family Clothing. And so it was a family environment, but it also let the girls, our daughters, understand daddy's somewhere. When he's at work, he's somewhere. And when he's home, he's with us.
right.
And so that's important. If you can take your children into your office, how they have at school, they have Parents' Day. Well, make a Children's Day and bring them in so they can just see what you do. It relaxes everything at home because they understand daddy just left there or mommy just left there and now she's home and
Right.
this is our time with her.
In another
Yeah, stats and
stat
facts.
here
Uh-huh.
for us is
Yeah.
that a 2020 McKinsey and Company. Now, McKinsey's a huge
Mhm.
consulting firm. They did a survey and they found that dual career couples, or how dual career couples found fulfillment, and they found that both men and women were happier with their jobs when they were part of a single career couple, which is interesting.
Yeah, yeah, that is interesting. So in reality, I guess we would be called a single career couple because some people don't think stay-at-home moms are a career, but they do find that those couples are happier when there's one working instead of two
Sure,
because there's less stress.
stress.
I mean, there can be less stress. Let's say that because we're going to tell you a story about some stress in our household, but there can be less stress because you only have one person dealing with the outside world, and then having to come back. They have to fight the battle. You're out there fighting. You put your sword away, and you come home and you can relax and put your feet up.
But one thing that we should clarify too, a lot of times the stress that couples are under is not by accident. It's just our firms put a lot of
Yeah.
pressure on us. Companies are time compressed these
Hmm.
days, and many of them are getting more things done with less resources. And so that means there is a demand put on those of us who are there, okay, to be able to accomplish
Yeah.
what they used to accomplish with many more people.
So
So,
true. Well, this is a good one to follow that up. Buyers and Rue, a 2006 survey, mentioned another reason and potential source of pressure among some dual career couples were ready. A couple may wish to have a child, but postpone the relevant plans due to the fear of implications of having children for the career prospects of the female in the family. So here we go. The female could have these great career prospects, but it's like, but if I have a baby, if I have a child, I can't do that. So
that's
let's
right.
put it off. And that's a lot of pressure. You just said the stress and pressure of, hey, there are some companies that are not gonna hire you when you're pregnant. You know why? They don't want to deal with the health insurance and you're gonna have to ask for maternity leave. And then even after you get into that company as a female, things have changed. Laws have changed, but in general, they slip through the cracks. Men and women both don't really want to hire a woman who turns around a year later and says, "I'm pregnant." It's like you've only been here a year. We're going to give you time off, and we got to pay for that baby. So the sad part is that it's a fact that a lot of females are going, "I don't know. Do I want my career or do I really want to have a child?" Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Here's one from a more of a global perspective. Um, there's an entity called Systems of Kinship in India.
Mm.
Well, they say that family and marriage in India, with many dual career couples, suffer from work overload.
Oh, yeah,
They suffer from work overload.
yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
I know that the Indian culture has a lot of times been, a single income
Mhm.
situation, but now even the global impact of dual career couples is impacting that part of the world as
Mhm.
well. So, but what are some tips to overcome this phenomenon? Well, a 2019 Forbes.com article called "How to Balance Your Career and Your Relationship," they say to limit white noise. Right?
Yeah, That's a
Says
good one. So
you
what's white noise? Do you guys know what white noise is?
white noise.
Do you know what white noise
What
is?
is white noise?
White noise is your cell phone.
Right.
White noise is chatter in the back of your
Yes.
head.
Yes.
Eliminate those things that are distraction. Go ahead, keep going.
And by doing that, to
Mhm.
that point, it says you can't be on call for everything.
Yeah,
You got to be able to say, you know what? No, I can't
yeah,
be available for that.
yeah.
I
Reduce
have
that.
a family engagement,
And that could be
or
the noise in the back while my boss, or I've got to do this report. But take the time. And there are ways to do that. We all know there are ways to just take 5 minutes before you leave the office and do whatever you need to do to shut it down and go home. Or if you're working at home, don't let the kids in the office. Don't let your spouse in the office until you're finished. And the
lock it
office could
down.
be the kitchen table.
That's right.
We ain't eating until I'm finished work.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Another tip is prioritize your relationships.
Yeah.
Prioritize your
Hmm.
relationships. Okay. Be able to say, no, I have some things that are more important.
Yeah. You're not that important in my life right now. Yeah. And that could be the guys who say, "Hey, let's go bowling or let's go golfing." You know what? Golfing takes 2 to 3 hours out of my Saturday
Right.
when I could be with my kids. I know I need a release, but maybe I should just, do something else for an hour. Or maybe we could all canoe, kayak, go on a hike or something so that I
Right.
can get out in the fresh air and do something that will cause me to bring down the stress, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The key here is that relationships take work.
Yeah.
Okay. And in a dual career or two career couple, it is very, very demanding. So
Mhm.
you have to make sure that you plan time for your relationship as well.
We get so exhausted, but if you can just hold on a bit of energy, just a bit of energy, so when you get home, you can release.
Yes,
And
exactly.
and that might be, or you could do it on your drive home. Or you could do it when you come out of go into the bathroom if you're at work. If you work from home, go into the bathroom and just have your time of release. We're going to talk about a couple of things that we do as a couple to just de-stress.
Right.
And it's helpful. If our kids were still home, they'd probably do it with us. That would be cool, right?
Yeah, certainly.
But you have to take that time to just take that little bit of energy that you have left and don't put it towards anything negative. And that's a conscious thought. You have
Sure.
to think, okay, I'm finished. Let me go home, leave work at work, and let me take care of my lifestyle at home.
If we could transition here just for a second to get a little bit more personal about how something like this has impacted us. Essentially, we're have been a dual career couple since you've been a stay-at-home mom
Yeah.
because that's a
No,
profession.
because I was working before that.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Since we got married, 40 years.
Literally, exactly.
40 years. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and both of us have always been very passionate, about
Yeah.
what we do.
Yeah.
But this topic is really a highly sensitive topic for us because our passions for what we do were really one of the things that almost took us out as a
Yeah. The
couple.
thing that we enjoyed the most, we were at odds.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So we were both committed to our professions and,
Hmm.
and our roles. And I remember about 26 years ago when everything came to a head,
Hmm.
where you were really maybe emotionally bankrupt, essentially,
Yeah.
because all of the work that you were doing and it was seemingly not noticed by me.
Hmm.
You're constantly
No,
there.
it wasn't
Yeah.
noticed. Not seemingly. It was not noticed.
Maybe I was
Let me
guilty.
tell you, it wasn't noticed. You were on the fast track. So,
Yeah, that's true.
you were traveling. Oh my gosh. Okay, so guys, let me just say this. When he was in the fashion industry, there was a time that he would travel
I would
3
jump through countries, literally.
yeah, so he'd be gone like a month and he'd be at 3 or 4 different countries in 1 month, right?
Yes,
Yeah, in 1 month. And so I'm taking care of
everything.
everything at home, not just the child, but everything that has to happen, the plumbing, the car, anything that could happen, anything that happened. And then when our child would act up, I'm like, ugh. So Steve would come home. I'm like, deal with her. And he's like, I just got back. I'm like, I don't care. You deal with her because you can't deal with anything else because I was emotionally bankrupt.
Yeah.
And so when he would come home, he would just want to relax. And I'm like, relax? We got to do something. Let's go do something. So what I was really great at what I did, and he was really great at what he did. It's just the tension of coming back together, me giving him the mantle of being the head of the house because he is the head of the house when he's home, and then me having to take it back. It's like, oh, okay. And then him not knowing what's going on at home and me not
Well,
communicating that. It was stressful.
then there was another thing that it seemed like, again, it seemed like
Hmm.
she was very disrespectful to me because out of all that work I was doing, who was I actually doing it for?
Yeah.
I was doing it for them. Why was I running my tail up and down the road and through countries and, working to excel and earn more income to take care of this family?
Yeah.
Well,
But hold on. And in my case, I was like, you're having fun. You're
well,
going
yeah,
to Brazil, you're going to Hong Kong, you're going to South Korea, you're going to, you're going to South America, you're going to, I'm just sitting at home with a kid. So I'm like, respect what you're doing. You're the one having all the fun. You're eating different
yeah.
foods,
Now,
you're
those
learning
of you
different
that
languages.
travel for business, you realize it is not
Yeah.
that
All right.
glamorous.
But I don't know that because I'm sitting at home in a house with a baby feeding, here, you want some more food? Don't spit in my face. Meanwhile, he's like, I just ate at this number one restaurant in Brazil. I'm like, I hate you. So it's like, yeah, I was frustrated because I'm like,
It's
and
very
then
true.
he'd come back and he'd talk about his trips. Oh, yeah. And then the limousine picked us up and, the private jets. I'm like, private jets, limousines. My van is broken down.
Yeah. Yeah, when I worked for the limited stores, the chairman of that company had a couple 737s, really, really nice
Yeah,
private
well, the
jets.
other companies you
By the
work
way,
in,
that's a good way to fly. If you ever
yeah, well,
fly,
shut up. Just stop, okay? Just stop. Yeah. So of course I'm thinking now, granted, obviously, the stress of hopping from country to country and being exhausted. I'm like, good. I'm glad you're exhausted because I'm exhausted and I'm going nowhere.
so suffice to say that
Yeah.
was about 26 years ago. That was a very explosive time in our marriage.
Can you tell?
And yeah, and ultimately, totally transparent here,
Hmm.
guys, it landed us at a restaurant one afternoon
Yeah.
where we were looking for a safe place where we could sit and talk about getting a divorce
Hmm.
and talk about who would take the kids and what we would do and where we would go and all these kind of
Hmm.
things.
Yeah.
And then we're really fortunate because we have always sowed into the lives of others that we
Yeah.
said earlier, what you give out will
Yeah.
ultimately come back to you. At the end of that time we were together, we sat there and we said to ourselves, you know what? This is actually quite ridiculous.
Hmm.
We know the answer.
Yeah, because we were working with young marrieds.
Oh yeah,
We were-
we need to get this
but I'll tell you, the
together
plumber's pipes
ourselves.
are always clogged. Our pipes were clogged, even though
Yes,
we're giving out and giving out. Yeah. And
exactly.
so we actually remember Sue Townsend,
Mhm.
a wonderful woman for our church who is a counselor. We said, can we have an appointment with you? And she said, you guys teach young marrieds. We're like, shut up. We know. And so when we sat with her, she was so cool. And it took one session. We're like, we know this stuff.
We know this
We know
stuff.
this stuff. And she
And
goes, you guys know what to do. Yeah.
number one, we left that saying we will never
Yeah.
ever say the word or think the word
Divorce.
divorce.
Yeah. Wasn't even, we
It will
kept, yeah.
never come out of our mouths
Mhm.
ever again.
Because we'll work through that,
We will
whatever that
work
is.
through
Yeah,
it.
it's worth it. It's an investment. People don't understand when you're investing money, you see it go up and down and you don't touch it. You just let it go up and down because it's an investment. Well, guess what? Marriage goes up and down and you
Yeah,
don't touch it. You just ride
exactly.
it and you figure it out. As a
Right.
matter of fact, everything goes up and heartbeats go up and down. Nothing is stagnant.
That's right.
Nothing, and nothing keeps soaring.
That's good.
It's a heartbeat. It's
Absolutely.
our marriage, our lives, our heartbeat.
That's a phenomenal analogy because the
Thank
thing is,
you.
yeah, you're welcome. How about it? So the thing is, the reality is this: if you are going through something like this, or if you
Mhm.
know someone that's going through this, encourage them. They can get through it because 26 years ago,
Mhm.
it did look kind of grim. Because the reality is that when we were locking it up and we were having those issues together, my thing was I felt disrespected. I didn't feel that she appreciated all the work I was doing. She also felt that I didn't appreciate all the work she was doing.
Mhm.
And it's a true one of those things, like we were both, I think, blinded to it. But
Yeah.
make no mistake about it, there are forces against every
Oh,
marriage out there.
absolutely,
Because
absolutely.
if you get the marriage, you ultimately get the kids, right?
Mhm, mhm.
So
Yeah, so good. Well, I will say this, one of the other things that had happened was we had an emotional bank account that was empty.
empty both,
We were just empty on emotions towards each other,
right?
and when you get empty on emotions towards each other, the reverse of is it goes deeper into a negative
That's right.
because you've got nothing.
You've
So
nothing.
now you have a deficit. So the emotions that are deficit are negative.
That's right. Imagine your bank account if it's, non-sufficient funds or
Yeah,
NSF. Every
right.
time you write a check, it bounces back. Well, if you're
That's good.
emotionally bankrupt, right,
Yeah,
everything bounces back.
yeah, yeah.
So
And so you have to work on building that back up.
that's right.
You know?
We realized also that we had another career, and that is a career of building a marriage and building a family.
Mhm.
That was more important
Yeah.
than anything else.
Number one
So,
career. Yeah. Number one career is family.
right.
And I think a lot of times couples get confused with that.
That's
What do you
right.
mean? Family's just going to happen. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we, as we are building this podcast, one of the things that we have always done is we have done focus groups.
Yeah.
And right now, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of shift gears here
And go into
and
our
go into our little trusty box here of some
question
questions have come in
box. Let's see what
from
we've
those
got
in our
here.
focus group.
Let's see. Drum roll, please. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, this is a long one. This kind of sounds like we both have time consuming jobs. And at this rate, we are like ships passing in the night, and time together is becoming less frequent.
Wow.
Okay. So we weren't even ships passing in the night because he was on another coast in his ship and I was on mine. Okay. We both have desires and goals for our professions and cannot place our careers on the back burner. In saying that, it feels like our marriage relationship has been put on the back burner.
Wow.
We are both happy and in some ways satisfied, but how can we have successful careers and marriage?
Wow. We need to just, I don't know if we're going to get through any more because we really need to unpack this.
Mhm.
This is heavy duty.
We both have desires and goals for our for professions and cannot place our career. Okay.
Okay, hold on, but
Yeah.
can you go back to the first sentence?
We both have time consuming jobs. And at this rate, we are like ships passing in the night.
But think about that for a second. Ships passing in the night. That means they can't see each other.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not even daytime. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And we both have desires and goals for our professions and cannot place our careers on the back burner, but they don't want to put their marriage on the back burner. So something's got to give.
Something's got to give.
Truly, something. You only have a limit 24 hours in a day. You only have 365 days in a year. So something's got to give. And if you feel like we're, let's see, we are both happy and in some ways satisfied, but how can we have successful careers and marriage? Something's got to give. You've got to decide what is important in your marriage. What are you looking at in your marriage saying we need more work with this? And how do you define what successful career is? Is successful career money? Is successful career advancement through the company?
Right.
Recognition? What is success? Servanthood? What does that mean?
Yeah. And what about intimacy and romance? When do you have time for that?
Yeah. Well, I think that's probably part of the two ships passing in the night.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
They didn't even say the ships were touching each other at all.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So in that, I think that answers the
What was the
question
next-
is defining it. How are you defining we're both happy and in some ways satisfied, but how can we have successful careers and marriage?
Well, I think you also have to define what that success looks like for you.
Well, that's
Because-
what I was saying earlier, but how can they? So once they define it, what then?
Then they have to execute.
Yeah.
Okay. Because at the same time, it's like they're committing most of their time to their careers. Ladies and gentlemen, would you, in the comments down there, if you can also respond
Yeah.
to help these folks out? I mean, any comments that you guys could give would be highly
And
appreciated.
I think prioritize is huge.
it's huge.
Prioritize what's important to you.
Right.
Because you cannot say, well, I hope you're not saying my marriage is just as important as my career.
Right.
No, we just said your career is your marriage.
Exactly.
Your
correct.
work career should never be as important as your marriage.
Exactly.
So if that's your mindset, then you got to break it down and the two of you need to sit down and prioritize what really is important. You want to get the next one?
Sure. When my spouse is working and tells me to hold a minute, and a minute turns into 5, 10, 30 minutes. How long is too long to wait? Is what this person asks. How long is too long to wait? I want to be respectful of his or her time, but I also desire to have their attention. Now, let me just say this. That's not cool.
No, it's not.
That is
But
not
how
cool.
late, how much is, it depends on what they're doing. Like if they say, if they're on the phone and they say, hold on 5 minutes and it turns into 30, it's time to walk away, or it's time to go over and just take the phone and say, who is this?
Right.
And it depends on when you want their attention. If they're at work and you want their attention, they're at work. So you have to respect that.
So how long is too long? That's the question being asked.
I think it depends on where they're at. If they're at work, then you have to respect the work time that they're in. If you're interrupting them at work, let's say they have a job and they're out there working on their job and you call in and they say, listen, give me a minute. I'm working with a client. Well, if you want to sit on hold, then sit on hold, but hang up, because be respectful that they're on a phone with the client.
Right.
Now, if they're at home and a client calls in and they're in the middle of dinner or they're in the middle of family time, It's like, no, you got to come on. You got to get on the phone and tell the person, listen, let me get back to you. I'm with my family right now.
Right.
So
Well, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Here's my opinion. I think you have to have an agreement with each other. At some
mhm,
point, you have to have an agreement and say, hey, honey, if I ever call you, right? If I put you on hold or if I'm on hold, if it's after 5 minutes, I'm hanging up
yeah,
or something like that.
that's right. I'm
Or
out.
maybe it's a cue that I'm going to call twice if it's an emergency. That
Yeah,
way, if I
we
call and
do
I hang,
that. We do that.
right.
Yes, we do. Because when he's traveling, he's still traveling. When he's traveling, if I call, and now here's another thing that you do, which I think is really smart. If you're with a client and I call, sometimes you answer the phone and you just let it, and I can hear you talking. I'm like, okay, don't say anything, and then I hang up because
Right.
I know you're with a client. So let me not talk to you.
Right.
Of course, some people go, pick up the phone. Hey, you answered. Where are you? And that could just
Right.
ruin the whole deal. But again, it depends on where that limit is situated. If they're at home or if they're at work.
All right. We have one more here. Well, I mean,
No,
there's
we
more, but
don't. Yeah, we
we're
got
going to
more.
be running out of time here.
Oh,
So
okay.
anyway, here's one. My spouse does a lot of negotiating and debating at work. I find that when he comes home, every decision or request is a debate or a negotiation. Uh-oh. We
Okay,
need to draw a line sometimes. I'm not up for a debate. I just need a yes or a no. This is a really good
that's a good
question.
one. Yeah,
Thank you for
yeah.
sending this. This
Okay,
is brilliant.
so that,
Dude, you need to stop negotiating
yeah,
with your family. Come on, man.
is that a he? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely.
Come on,
But
brah.
again, leave work at work.
Leaves. All
And
right.
then here's the other thing. I just need a yes or no. So tell them, listen, you are debating me. Stop it.
Yeah.
And that might become a humorous thing. You can make it a humorous thing.
Right.
Really? Are we going to debate right now? Are we going to negotiate? Okay, here's some things I want to negotiate.
That's good.
Bring him bring it right up to his face.
Yeah.
We're going to negotiate. Great. Let's talk about this.
Yeah. Here's my honeydew
Yeah,
list.
yeah.
Debate
How
that.
many of these do you gonna do? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, okay, so this was the budget for you. We're slashing it. You want to debate that? Because now the budget goes to me, So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
absolutely. Sometimes you got to reverse the script.
Oh,
You got
yeah.
to flip the script so people can see that. Are we gonna
Right.
go any more on these? No.
Well, we better wrap
Oh,
things
are
up
we?
here.
Oh, we got so many.
Oh
We've
my
got a
gosh.
couple more in here.
Yeah, we better wrap it up. So
Okay. All right.
remember, folks, that you're replaceable almost in every area of your life
Yeah.
except in your home.
So true. Yeah.
They can replace you on the job. They can find somebody else to do the
Mhm.
things that you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you're a mom or a dad, who's going to replace you in that home?
Yeah.
Your roles
And
are
here's the
very,
thing.
very important.
Do you want to be replaced?
That's right. That's right.
So yeah, yeah. So we want to thank you for joining us. And this was such a hearty conversation. I
Yes.
mean,
We're
this
going
could
to
have
come
gone.
back to this one at
Yeah,
some
this
point.
could go on for a while because
Right.
it's leave work at work. Take your
Leave
sword
work at
from
work.
work and what is it called? Keep your sword in.
And by the way, we don't want to diminish, okay, the I guess you would say maybe the stress or the all of the things and demands that your firms or your companies are
Yeah.
putting on you. We
Yeah.
do understand that.
Oh,
But
like we just said, we felt it.
yes,
We
yes.
felt it. What we do want to say is think of a cocoon.
Okay,
Just think of your family
good.
and put it in a cocoon.
that's good.
This is your space.
That's right, and it
You-
matters.
Yeah, and you don't have to let anyone into your space.
No,
You are responsible for that cocoon.
that's right.
No holes, no slits, no nothing to get in there to distract from your family.
And we gave you our real story for a reason, folks.
Yeah.
All these things you're seeing on social media, you think couples are all lovey-dovey all the time. No, listen, okay, this is the real deal. This is not easy.
Or
It
everything's
takes work
fun.
and commitment
Take
and
down the
effort.
filters, and social media is not real life.
That's
It's
right.
not real life. Everybody wants a reality show, and it's not real life.
That's right.
And real life hurts, and real life is fun.
But you can make it. That's
Yeah,
the key
yeah,
here.
yeah.
You can
So,
make it.
Again, subscribe, and share because we
Share it.
would love to see more of you and more like you.
That's
So
right.
those people that that are like you, invite them to join us. Again, a comment. We would love to hear your comments because we're going to use those comments in the box.
That's right. If you got things you want us to talk about, if
Yeah.
you have issues, whatever,
Yeah.
reach
We
out.
might end up extending the show because we've got such good material from you guys, the questions that you have and the
Yeah.
topics. So thanks again for joining us.
Until next week,
Yeah. Yeah. Remember to get it together.
get it together,
Together.
together, right?